Well, partner, let me tell you straight. Us cowboys didn't just sprout up in Texas like mesquite after rain. Spain sent her vaqueros ridden herd on Longosaw cattle century before any of a longhorn or tumbleweed.
What's up, guys? Spenny. This is the first interview that AOC did when she arrived in Congress. I want you to watch this.
Politics and the war in the Middle East is very different than people expressing their First Amendment right to protest.
Well,
she's asked a simple question
yes,
about Israel.
But I also think that what people are starting to see, at least in the occupation of Palestine, is just an increasing crisis of humanitarian condition.
Whatever.
And that to me is just
kind of
where
like
I tend to
normal left-wing
on this issue.
pablum.
You use the term the occupation of Palestine. What did you mean by that?
Here's where it short circuits. Watch this. This is one of my favorite clips of all time.
I think what I meant is like the settlements that are increasing in some of these areas and places where Palestinians are experiencing difficulty in access to their housing and homes.
Do you think you can expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd also just I am not the expert on geopolitics on this issue, you know.
Look at that face. It's like an unbelievable moment in political history. It makes me really happy that we've been able to capture so many of these special moments with AOC on tape. But she's been in Congress now for 6 years. Boy, you get a pretty nice little life going for you in 6 years in Congress. I thought AOC was supposed to be leaving the political class, right? What's going on with term limits and being an actual member of society? She's now turned into a very slightly older, yikes-looking version, the abuela version of AOC. And she's still giving answers like this, which are hilarious, and she's crashing out even worse, I think. You'd assume she'd be getting better, but she's actually getting worse.
The US
this was AOC yesterday
to defend Taiwan
in Munich.
if China were to move.
Okay, Taiwan. All right, so remember the last question 6 years ago? Israel, Palestine. Okay, how about Taiwan, China, United States? These are obvious, simple. These aren't even hard questions. They're like simple questions, obvious questions.
I think that this is such a, I think that this is of course a very longstanding policy of the United States. And I think what we are hoping for is that we want to make sure that we never get to that point, and we want to make sure that we are moving in.
What? It's 20. It was 20 seconds of pure silence, and everyone's like, "What is going on here?" And it wasn't just that. Let's just read the top line here. AOC invested months in preparing for her high-profile overseas trip. This is what months of work does for her. And she arrived in Munich Security Conference. The progressive lawmaker fumbled through basic foreign policy questions. She's now faulting conservatives for the backlash. New York Democrat froze for 20 straight seconds when a moderator asked her whether America should deploy troops to defend Taiwan. According to the New York Times, her eventual response simply restated the nation's longstanding strategic ambiguity policy. AOC then confused the Trans-Pacific Partnership with the Transatlantic Partnership, assuming that this is just partnerships between trans people. I'm reading into that one, but still, it's funny. During her remarks, an error she later acknowledged to the New York Times. She further claimed Venezuela sits below the equator, despite the country being in the northern hemisphere and not being below the equator. Matt Duss, former foreign policy advisor to Bernie Sanders, worked with AOC for months ahead of this conference, Politico reported. The pair connected approximately 6 times through video calls and face-to-face meetings after her invitation arrived. Her appearance seemingly conceived as a rebuttal to J.D. Vance's speech at the venue last year, but is seen as an absolute nightmare on social media. Ocasio-Cortez herself defended herself in an interview with the New York Times from Berlin, accusing conservative media of taking any 5 to 10 second thing go viral to distract from the substance of what I'm saying. Listen to the word. Listen to what I'm saying. Okay. Ocasio-Cortez told the New York Times, "This reporter came up to me and was like, is Munich the new New Hampshire? I cannot say enough how out of touch and missing the point this all genuinely is." She repeatedly denied presidential ambition, saying, "I am acting like someone who is trying to run." No! The criticism, however, extended beyond conservative media. Democrat strategists told The Hill that Ocasio-Cortez is not ready for prime time on the international stage. It was a beauty pageant to show that she had some chops on international issues. She showed a complete lack of chops on international issues. Glenn Greenwald saying, "Whoever convinced AOC that she had successfully completed her tutoring and is now ready to give book reports about foreign policy really should look for another line of work." Here's the New York Times piece. Ocasio-Cortez expressed frustrations. New York Times doing full PR operation for AOC. It's remarkable. So Kellen, this is Kellen. Here's your New York Times, ladies and gentlemen. Here's Kellen, who says AOC came to Munich to warn about the far right. She gave me a call. Oh boy, I hope she noticed you, bro. I hear she's into white dudes. Everyone is getting the story wrong. This is about me running for president. Global democracies are on fire, she said in her best Greta Thunberg voice. Okay. The way her performance was microscopically dissected, dude, she didn't know what Taiwan was. This is not a microscopic dissection. She didn't know where Venezuela was on a map. Of what it meant to be a hypothetical White House campaign for AOC. She was worried that her message was being lost. So here it is for me at the New York Times to tell you her message. She said her meeting at Munich had been substantive, went viral on the flub of Taiwan and speculation about 2028. Am I acting like someone who wants to run? No. Dude, look at this ratio. Look at that. Look at this ratio. 2.3 million comments. Yeah, dude. 2.3 thousand, 1.7 million views. All right, here we go. Just here for the ratio. Global democracies are on fire world over. Her attempt to clean up resulted in another word salad. She gave you a call, told you to run interference for her, and you obliged. It's so embarrassing. Now the New York Times is acting as PR agent for AOC. This is remarkable, but it's not. In fact, it's exactly what we have come to expect from the New York Times. Let me help you out. Shill, acting as a spokesperson. She called you and told you what to say. Are you a journalist? Are you a man? Her flub was not knowing where Venezuela was. There you go. South of the equator. And she had no idea what Taiwan was either. This is what you get when you elect a cocktail waitress. That's right. It's so embarrassing. Some guy named Kellen is running a PR campaign for AOC. Hey, Kellen. If you use the phrase far right, then AOC is far left. That's exactly right. This is embarrassing. The Times is running point on AOC. Of course, she's running for president. Of course, she's denying that she's running for president. And of course, literally everything hinges on these libs giving them a call. She gave me a call. Do you guys ever feel any shame for being straight stenographers like this? She's panicking. She knows it was that bad. AOC wants the New York Times to bail her out as usual. For someone who is known for her media savvy, this New York Times appeal seems pretty whiny. Gives her critics more fodder to scrutinize her over. The politician I love, I went to Munich to denigrate Republicans. She fell flat on her face. She gave me a call. Here's her rehab story to make her look better. This is the result of months of preparation. This is, by the way, the equator. There it is. See right there. Beautiful, beautiful line. One of the best lines. And Venezuela is not below it.
We look at what happened in Venezuela, for example.
Venezuela.
It is not a. It is not a remark on who Maduro was as a leader. He canceled elections. He was an anti-democratic leader. That doesn't mean that we can kidnap a head of state and engage in acts of war just because the nation is below the equator.
Good job. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe for more AOC Freakout.